Past few weeks, been spending a lot of time with college ultimate players at these clinics, and one of the things that's kind of a limitation of these clinics is that we don't have a weight room. It would be optimal to have, here is the strength side of stuff, which is very important, and here's the movement side of stuff, but the majority of these clinics have been outside, so we've been focusing mostly on movement. And one of the big things that we talk about is, hey, when we're doing these skips, when we're doing these cuts, we're absorbing force from the ground and then putting force back into the ground. And we need to be good at that. And how do we get good at that? How do we develop the capacity to absorb and produce force? Well, we do that in the weight room through strength training. So one of the biggest things, I just got a message from the Fuel girls down in Florida. I was down there working with Fuel last Tuesday, and I've been getting emailing back and forth with the girls, talking about, how can we structure our weight room program. We're very green, meaning novice athletes. Where do we start? So I actually just got a voicemail saying, hey, what do you think about this? My camera's here. I want to make a quick little video. So first thing we got to think is, if we come into the weight room, we've got to load our legs with a knee dominant pattern and a hip dominant pattern, and then progress from there. So the most basic knee dominant pattern is going to be the split squat. So you're going to get your girls, you're going to start body weight, you're going to think nice and tall. I'm just going to drop down. I'm probably going to start from this bottom position. I'm thinking butts on, toes dug into the ground. I'm going to push up through this heel. Do I have the stability to hang out in this position? So knees might be caving in all over the place. I gotta think, whoa, I gotta control that. I gotta fire out here. I gotta stay tight. This is my position, okay? From there, once you got all your girls that can do that well, you can start doing some reps, okay? Both legs sinking through. Is one leg weaker than the other? Do I have less stability of this knee on one leg than the other? Once we get that down, one session, maybe 2 sessions, we'll take, it doesn't matter what it is, a kettlebell, a dumbbell, we're gonna think goblet position. So, I'm in tight, my lats are engaged, I'm on. From here, I'm gonna get into that split squat position. Everything's gotta be engaged. If I'm not tight here, then I'm just gonna flop up. I gotta think, okay, tight, lats on, tight, drive up. Now, I've got the split squat pattern. That pattern can be loaded pretty heavily. So that's a split squat. That's our most basic knee dominant pattern. Other knee dominant pattern is going to be important, especially if you decide to use cleans, is going to be the front squat. So, not going to talk much about this because I have a video, clean one-on-one video, talks a lot about it, but I'm going to see if I can get my elbows high and squat back. That is kind of the precursor to the clean, but we do not need a dumbbell. We do not need a barbell. We can do this just fine in this goblet position. So I'm just going to think, I'm here, I'm going to think butt back, squat down nice and deep. You can see I don't have the best squat because I have tight ankles. If somebody's doing this, squatting like this, you're gonna first cue butt back and sit, and if that doesn't work, then we're gonna plop. Once I elevate my heels, I can get down in there. You wanna think, knees are gonna go kinda out. I'm never gonna let this happen. It's no good, especially Fuel girls, female athletes. We gotta know how to control that knee. We never let that happen, okay? Those are our 2 most basic knee dominant patterns. Eventually, we might get to the point that we got this bar maybe in this front rack, maybe it's on our back, we're elevating the rear leg, and we're thinking, can I load this pattern, pushing through my heel? If you get to the point, 2 or 3 months, that you're loading that pretty heavy, it's gonna be amazing what that does for our jab steps, for everything that we do on the field. Next, hip dominance. So I want you girls to see the difference. The movement here comes from the knees. The movement in a hip dominant pattern primarily comes from the hips. So the most basic hip dominant pattern is the SLDL. So I'm just going to think, first, slight bend in this knee. I'm gonna engage this glute. Can I reach and come back through? Finish with my glutes. I'm gonna go get my balance out and finish. Pull through. Start tall, finish tall, okay? Once you have that down body weight, you can grab. We're gonna go opposite arm, opposite leg. I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna think. Slight bend, pull through. Slight bend, pull through. Eventually, we're loading this very heavy. So there's hip dominant pattern number 1. Hip dominant pattern number 2 would be something like a bridge where I'm thinking maybe actively think about pulling in this leg, bridging up, squeezing this glute. Can I do that on both sides? Okay. If a girl can't do that, have them do it bilaterally. Push up, squeezing the glute. I'm not way up here. I'm right here. Tight, tight, tight. So, we come into the weight room, strength phase. You can go to the Clean 101 video to learn how to clean, but when we think strength, we're thinking low to knee dominant pattern, low to hip dominant pattern. Now, we've got to also think about upper body. So, very easy to think about. We're gonna push and we're gonna pull. So, pushing, what can we do? My recommendation would be to start with a vertical pushing pattern that promotes lower body stability as well. So if you have an Air X pad, you can use it, but that same kind of split squat position, I'm not even sure if you guys can see. The same kind of split squat position that I was just doing here, I'm gonna get stable lower body, belly tight, butt tight, I'm stable here. Now, since I'm stable here, I get stable up top. I'm gonna press and think elbow to ear. So I'm just getting a little bit of vertical pushing work in. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna make sure opposite knee, opposite arm, press. What are some other pushing ideas? I could do a push-up. You girls know what a push-up is. I can do a single arm dumbbell press. So, press, press. The difference, I'm pushing in, that's a vertical push versus a horizontal push. They're gonna be a little bit different. If you're doing maybe 2 workouts a week, make sure you push both workouts, but one day do something vertical, something overhead, do something the other day that is horizontal. Then I have to pull. What do I think about when I pull? I'm gonna think about, first thing is pull-ups. So if you have a pull-up bar, chin-ups this way, pull-ups this way, but I'm just gonna think, grab, all the way down, all the way up. Make sure I'm going through full range of motion. Girls, if you can't do a pull-up, then grab a band. Assuming your weight room has bands, you can just tie that on, put your knee in there, it'll help. If not, you just get your girls to help, spot almost. If that's still too much, if you can't do pull-ups, then we can think about pulling with dumbbell rows. So I'm gonna think, my feet are wide, I hinge back, I'm tight here, I'm gonna grab, everything's tight, the only thing that's gonna move is my arm. Pull, pull, pull. I don't wanna be all over the place. You gotta make sure we have to be stable with these movements. And then, so, we've thought about knee dominant strength, hip dominant strength, pulling, pushing, now a little bit of core. So let's think, we'll make all the girls do planks. This is the most basic thing. No more crunches. There's no reason to do this. This is not how the core works. We sit at the computer all day. We don't need to do crunches. So get that out of your system. We're going to start with a conventional plank. So when I get in this plank position, I'm going to think I'm not up here, I'm not down here. My shoulders are in place. And then if you can see my butt, Right here, this is anterior pelvic tilt. This is posterior pelvic tilt. When I go into this posterior pelvic tilt, that's when my glutes are on, and that's what's so important. This has to be tight, and this has to be tight in a plank, straight up and down. So I'm thinking, this is my anterior, boom, posterior. My glutes are on, everything's on, I'm tight, and I'm doing a plank. Same thing sideways. My neck's in line, everything's in line. I'm not on right now, boom, I'm on. My glutes are on, belly's on, I'm hanging out, tight. Can we do this for 30 seconds? Everything has to be tight. If we get good at that, we can move on. Lower back on the ground, feet up about 7-8 inches, arms here. Can I hang out in this position without kind of seeing light between my back? So we're gonna see, can the girls put that whole lower back on the ground and hang out, belly tight? There. So, where do we start? We start with hip dominant strength, knee dominant strength, push, pull, do something for your core. I'm gonna try to be better about doing this more often. This was completely random. Just got a message from Chloe. Monica's been emailing me back and forth. So Fuel Girls, take it and run with it. Next time I see you, it's gonna be awesome. And everybody else who's been coming to the clinics, that's a great way to start, especially if you got guys that are intimidated by the weight room. Split squat, SLDL, not that hard, but guys will get it fast. Okay, so hope that helps. See you guys.